Have you ever felt the pulse of New York City? The electric energy that never lets up, no matter the hour? It's a place where dreams are made, but lurking in the shadows, nightmares are born. Imagine a day that begins with the usual chaos of city life, quickly spirals into a chilling descent into the supernatural. In this gripping tale, the bustling streets of New York become a backdrop for a harrowing journey into the unknown. Our protagonist, an ordinary New Yorker, finds their life unraveling as they encounter eerie whispers, malevolent shadows, and ancient curses. This isn't just a story, it's an experience that will leave you questioning the very fabric of reality. Are you ready to uncover the sinister secrets that lie hidden in the heart of the city that never sleeps? The answer might just haunt you forever.
I woke up to the New York sun already streaming through the blinds, flooding my room with an almost searing light. My morning routine was simple: strong coffee, a quick jog through Central Park, and a brief scan of the news. However, today there was an eerie feeling, like something ominous lurking just beneath the surface of my everyday life. As I walked through the bustling streets, the familiar sounds of the city felt strangely distant. The usual hustle and bustle seemed overshadowed by a sinister undertone, whispers of dread that clung to the air. I couldn't shake the sensation that I was being watched, a shadow trailing just out of sight, leaving me with a haunting sense of unease. By the time I reached my office, the feeling had only intensified. The bustling energy of the city, usually so invigorating, now felt almost malevolent, as if the very soul of New York was tormented by some macabre force. I tried to focus on my work, but the specter of that morning's unease lingered, an ominous presence that refused to be ignored, hinting at the supernatural events that were yet to unfold. New York streets were as lively as ever, but I couldn't shake the growing sense of foreboding. Times Square blazed with neon lights, and Central Park was a green oasis in the urban jungle. Yet, the familiar sights seemed tainted by an unseen curse, casting eerie shadows that seemed to whisper dark secrets. My unease grew as strange events began to unfold. A chilling breeze would sweep through, despite the summer heat. I saw reflections in shop windows that didn't match the people passing by. Whispers echoed in the alleys, sinister murmurs that vanished when I turned to look. The city's vibrant life felt haunted, each corner hiding a macabre mystery. As night fell, the feeling of dread became almost unbearable. The usual vibrancy of the city that never sleeps now seemed like a nightmare from which I couldn't wake. Every honking horn, every distant siren felt like an ominous warning. The shadows deepened, and the specters of my imagination took on a more tangible form, feeding my torment and preparing me for the encounters to come. It was during one of my walks that I first encountered them. Enigmatic figures who seemed out of place, their eyes filled with a knowledge that chilled me to the bone. They spoke in hushed tones, sharing tales of New York's dark past, of curses and hauntings that felt too real to dismiss as mere urban legends. One evening, an elderly man approached me in a forsaken corner of Central Park. His eyes were vacant, yet they seemed to pierce through my soul. He spoke of a shadow that roamed the city, a malevolent force that thrived on fear. His words were a chilling reminder that the macabre stories whispered throughout the city might hold a sinister truth. These encounters left me rattled. Each person I met seemed to be a specter from a bygone era, their stories interwoven with the supernatural fabric of the city. Their whispers hinted at a malevolent presence that lurked in the shadows, feeding on the dread that had taken root in my heart, and setting the stage for the terrifying visions that would soon plague my nights. My nights were no longer a refuge from the day's anxieties. Instead, they became a battlefield of disturbing visions. I would wake up drenched in sweat, the echoes of my nightmares lingering in the darkness. I saw chilling apparitions in the corners of my room, sinister figures that vanished when I turned on the light. One night, I dreamt of wandering through an abandoned subway station, its desolation amplified by the haunting silence. Shadows danced on the walls, and whispers of torment echoed through the tunnels. The specter of a child with hollow eyes appeared, its presence so macabre and malevolent that I woke up screaming. The vision seared into my mind. Each nightmare felt more real than the last, blurring the line between dream and reality. The supernatural experiences were no longer confined to my sleep. They seeped into my waking hours. I could feel the chilling breath of an unseen force on my neck, a constant reminder that the curse hanging over me was growing stronger, and that the haunted building I would soon discover held the key to these terrifying events. In the heart of the city, hidden among the towering skyscrapers, I stumbled upon a building long abandoned and forsaken. Its facade was crumbling, and an eerie silence enveloped the area, as if the building itself was a specter, waiting to share its sinister secrets. The macabre history of the place was whispered among locals, tales of tragedy and desolation that made my blood run cold. Curiosity and dread drove me to explore its darkened halls. The air inside was thick with an ominous presence, each step echoing like a whisper from the past. The walls seemed to close in on me, and I felt the torment of the souls trapped within. I uncovered old newspapers and forgotten documents, each telling a piece of the building's cursed story. The deeper I delved, the more horrifying the revelations became. I discovered that the building had once been home to a series of macabre events. Unnatural deaths, mysterious disappearances, and supernatural occurrences that defied explanation. It became clear that this forsaken place was the epicenter of the eerie and malevolent forces that had begun to haunt my life, and it held the key to uncovering the dark truth behind these chilling events. Buried in the basement of the haunted building, I found a trove of ancient documents, yellowed with age and filled with ominous warnings. These texts spoke of a curse that had plagued New York for centuries, a malevolent force that thrived on fear and despair. The chilling revelations tied the city's dark history to the supernatural torment I had been experiencing. The documents revealed the story of a specter, a malevolent entity that had been awakened by the suffering of those who lived in the building. This sinister force had fed on their dread, growing stronger with each tragic event. It became clear that the eerie presence haunting me was connected to this ancient curse, a shadow that had been cast over the city for generations. Each piece of evidence I uncovered added to the desolation I felt. The supernatural occurrences were not random. They were the manifestations of a curse deeply rooted in the city's history. The realization was chilling. The haunting whispers, the sinister shadows, and the macabre visions were all part of a larger, more malevolent plan that threatened to consume me entirely. The subway, once a mundane part of my daily commute, became a nightmare. The tunnels were filled with an oppressive darkness, and the flickering lights cast eerie shadows that danced on the walls. The whispers of unseen entities echoed through the desolate corridors, and I could feel their sinister presence closing in on me. One night, as I waited for the train, an apparition appeared on the platform. A haunting figure with hollow eyes and a chilling smile. The air grew cold, and I felt a malevolent force pressing down on me. I ran to the train, but the torment followed, the specter's shadow lurking just beyond the dim light of the carriage. Every ride on the subway turned into a battle for my sanity. The desolation of the tunnels mirrored the growing dread within me. Each encounter with the supernatural left me more tormented, and the curse's grip tightened. I realized that the malevolent force was driving me toward a final confrontation, where I would have to face the full horror of what was happening and discover the truth behind the sinister events that had consumed my life. The culmination of my torment came on a night shrouded in darkness and fear. The streets of New York, usually alive with energy, were eerily quiet. The sinister presence that had haunted me for weeks felt stronger than ever, an ominous force that seemed to wrap around me like a shadow. I knew that this was the night I would face the truth. As the night deepened, the whispers grew louder, and the shadows became more tangible. I found myself drawn back to the haunted building, its malevolent aura now overpowering. Inside, the air was thick with dread, and the walls seemed to pulse with a macabre life of their own. I felt the torment of the souls trapped within, their haunting cries filling the silence. In the heart of the building, I confronted the source of the curse, a malevolent entity that had been feeding on the city's fear for centuries. The specter's form was a chilling amalgamation of shadows and despair, its eyes filled with a sinister hunger. The final confrontation was a battle of wills, and as the truth of the curse was revealed, I realized the full extent of the supernatural horror that had plagued me. The revelation was both terrifying and liberating, but the nightmare was far from over. The final confrontation with the malevolent entity was a harrowing battle. The specter's presence was overwhelming, its form shifting between shadow and solid, each movement a chilling reminder of its supernatural power. I fought with every ounce of my strength, but the curse's grip was relentless, feeding on my dread and despair. As the entity closed in, I felt a surge of defiance. I called upon the ancient knowledge I had uncovered, using the words and symbols from the old documents to weaken the curse. The specter's form began to waver, its sinister presence faltering. But the battle was far from over. The malevolent force was deeply rooted, and it would take everything I had to overcome it. In a final, desperate act, I confronted the entity with the truth of its existence, a cursed shadow feeding on fear and suffering. The revelation struck like a bolt of lightning, shattering the specter's form. As the curse began to break, the building itself seemed to sigh with relief. But as the dawn approached, I knew that the nightmare might not be truly over, the malevolent force lingering just beneath the surface, waiting for another opportunity to rise. As the first light of dawn broke over the city, I emerged from the haunted building, exhausted but alive. The sinister presence that had tormented me was gone, but the desolation it had left behind was palpable. The streets of New York, once filled with life, now felt like the aftermath of a nightmare, the macabre events of the past weeks leaving a haunting mark on the city. Reflecting on the horror I had faced, I realized how profoundly it had changed me. The supernatural experiences had revealed the hidden darkness of the city, a sinister undercurrent that pulsed beneath its vibrant surface. Despite the terror, there was a strange sense of peace, a new understanding of the fragile line between reality and the supernatural. As I walked through the quiet streets, I couldn't shake the feeling that the curse might still linger. The shadows seemed deeper, and the whispers of the past still echoed faintly in the air. The nightmare might have ended, but the eerie presence of the supernatural was never far away, a reminder that the horrors of the unknown could return at any moment, ready to haunt the city once more.
As you walk the streets of New York, keep your eyes open and your senses sharp. The city holds more than just the bustle of everyday life. It harbors secrets that can chill you to the bone. Have you ever felt a shadow lurking just behind you? Or heard whispers that weren't there? What if the next time you ride the subway, you encounter a specter from the past? Stay alert, because the terror in New York might be closer than you think. Share your own eerie experiences in the comments below. Who knows? They might just be part of a larger, more sinister puzzle. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up with more spine-tingling stories. Stay safe out there, and always watch your back.